in December, we have Digital Living Room. So that's our events for the rest of this year. We are also looking next year at doing a conference on changing business models for the advertising industry with a ad agency partner called Advertising Innovation Summit. And in between, we do webinars. We have one coming up next week. They're free. You can sign up on our website on digital rights management. So let us know if you want to participate as a speaker in our events or have ideas for programs. I'd like to now introduce our keynote speaker, and he is Mike Brady, Senior Director, Business Development for FAST.
So I've got the post-lunch spot. You know the comments. Just bear with me. I am excited to be here. Very actually interested in the topics, and the concept and capability of FAST are slightly different from a lot of what we've talked about already. I think the dialogue has been terrific. I'm going to try to direct a little of my conversation around some of the questions and things that had come up, but specifically there's 3 points that at the end of this brief presentation and any questions we take, you can take out of this is FAST and actually the industry overall is so much in its infancy. And Michael made a good point really when he kicked off. It's that it's somewhat surprising that the media industry in many ways is yet to invest significantly because there is so much growth and so much potential. And it's still kind of chapter 1, so the point of this presentation is really around chapter 2 and what's going to happen and how can the media companies emerge and embrace this so that they can profit in the similar ways to the early entrants, which is obviously Google and Yahoo and these guys that are making real money in this right now. The other concept I want to take away, which was well set up by Safa and Piper, is the concept of search as the portal. I've got a couple slides on that, but it's a really, really interesting aspect, and it's actually going to be happening. And it's not just the portal online, it's going to be the IPTV, it's going to be on mobile. It's search being kind of the driver and enabler of the user experience on all channels. And it's a great concept. I was glad we led into that. And then really the other piece is search technology. There hasn't been a lot of talk about the technology yet. We've been talking about the business models. What FAST is a technology company that provides search. And kind of the best way to perhaps introduce FAST is to introduce our company through the other companies that we work with. For 10 years now, we've been partnering with some of the biggest companies worldwide to help them use search to solve their most mission-critical problems. And each one of these companies on this slide are using search in a slightly different way, but they've all embraced it as a way to really drive differentiation within their business. Whether it's aspects around searching into archives, whether it's standard site search, whether it's crawling the web and adding complementary content to what they already own. All of them have recognized there's a lot of money to be made and there's a lot of capabilities within search, and they're using FAST as their partner, as their search technology for them to drive on top. Some other, just a little more background on FAST. We are a global company. We're public in Oslo. While you haven't heard of us, it might be because we partner with these companies in a white label manner. We're the power behind their search, but we always promote our customers' brands. We've got about 850 people worldwide, all of them focused on bringing search into the business. This next slide is just a real simple one around, a lot of what we're talking about is the concept of keyword search. And search is evolving so much beyond just the simple keyword, where it's really the entire portal, as I'll get to. But other examples of how search is being used in the environment is around things like IP protection, being able to crawl the web and look for pieces of content that you have rights to and seeing if it's being used appropriately on different sites. Think of that as an aspect of search, and people say, okay, there's a component of that which we can deliver on our business, but it's not a cost center, it's a revenue provider. Because once you've identified these sites that are inappropriately using your content, you go to them and you say, hey, okay, here's your opportunity to now pony up for these pieces of content that you've been using. And if it tends to be a very good way to get people to start actually adhering to your right standards. Some other interesting aspects of search. apart from what people traditionally think about it, would be being able to crawl blogs. So we've talked about the launches of new TV shows today. Being able to crawl out blogs the day after a TV show is launched and see what the masses are saying about it, and not just having to read through each link, but having the search technology analyze the context of what people are saying and be able to give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a mediocre. So you immediately have an interest in real time around what people are saying about shows. These are the types of things that are much beyond just the simple capabilities of search, and the types of things that FAST works on with our partners. Now what I want to talk about is really some of these new search components, though, on the consumer-facing side. And there we go. It's easier to think in some ways of search as a matching engine. Rather than having someone to actually put in a search term and get content back, you know a lot about your users. And being able to understand what it is that they're looking for when they come to your site is important for when you're building your search strategy. So why would someone want to go to a site other than Google? It's because they understand that when they go to your site that they're going to get a better relevancy. You're going to know what they're looking for, and you can better match their interests. So one of our big customers is Reed Elsevier. They have a site called Cyrus. It's a science and medical site. When someone goes there and they do a search on a medical term, the relevancy model needs to match much more closely what we anticipate they're looking for than something in Google. This is what you do with a search technology company. This is how you build search strategies within your business, as you think about what your customers need and you match it with what the types of content that you have. This next topic is exactly what is encompassed by the search-driven portal. So it's not just delivering algorithmic results when someone does a search, it's pushing out the discovery of new content. It's helping to navigate. If you're not sure exactly what they're looking for, you can provide navigators of information. You can do merchandising of your content. You can push the advertising, obviously, whether it be your own advertisements or advertisements you're affiliating from another search provider. The aspects of alerts, it's been talked about a little bit, but it should be encompassed in your complete search-driven portal strategy. Pushing content out to people, making sure that they're getting content even when they're not necessarily at their computer. And then the analytics side. A lot of that was discussed on in the last panel. The analytics that you can draw from embracing search within your organization across all platforms, across all content sources is key. Personalization and recommendations. There was a good question a couple panels back about the use of personalization. So if you look at the search-driven portal as a concept and how you build your experience around making search your primary form of delivering results, does Mike Brady, who lives in New York as a Mets fan, really want the same set of results for a sports search as John, who lives in San Francisco and is a Giants fan? Probably not. So if you know those things about your users and you know that those pieces of information based on their prior behavior, you can push better personalized results and make better recommendations. This is why you want to embrace search as a core component within your business. And lastly, search technology is the glue that brings all business models together. Organizations are run in silos very often, and it's effective ways for them to be behaving. I think that needs to change, and we're working with our partners and some of those innovators on that first slide and others that want to break down those silos. And what I mean by search technology grew across all business models, you can think about it in a number of different ways, but it has the same benefits. Whether you're breaking down your online team from your IPTV team, from your mobile team, you want to be able to deliver and provide access to the same content with the same relevancy, with the same intelligence as regardless of the channel. But you could also break down the silos based on text, based on video, based on audio, so that you have a consistent way of delivering that experience and people know what they're going to experience when they go to your sites or your channels. Chapter 1 of search, this has been talked about, but I really want to emphasize it's pretty unbelievable, right? In a 10-year period, we've got 2 companies representing 50% of all online advertising, and that's only going to grow. This little clicker is not so agreeable. What they've been able to do is really create a wonderfully simple experience from something complex, right? And the aspect of simple came up in the Piper presentation as well. You know, taking all of the aspects around the web and search and making it easily delivered to a user is a tremendous task, and it takes years and years of technology development to be able to do that. Most people in this room, that's not your business. You know, your business is building brands, engaging with consumers, distributing content. You need to work with a technology provider that's worked on this for 10 years and can provide these same types of technologies while you focus on your business. The other aspects around this that they've been so successful with is their nimbleness, the ability for Google to launch and manage different services. It's been very, very difficult for not only the media companies, but the mobile operators and the cable operators and service providers to keep up. So embracing search technology as part of your business will allow for launching all sorts of new services, and those are the types of things that FAST works with our partners. So while those major players have been amazingly successful in generating and creating a new business around search revenue, this is a terrific study for a number of companies that are still saying, hey, has the game been lost? Well, clearly it hasn't. And Sue Feldman released this, I think the end of last year. She says, we now believe that roughly 70% of queries on the web are not going first to search engines. Instead, users are going directly to websites, the destinations of the web, and are bypassing search engines entirely. And then they're still doing queries. So she goes on in her paper to give you examples, and it's things like once you've figured out where you want to get your office supplies, you just go straight to Staples. But then you still type in whatever it is product that you're looking for. And it's those queries that if you don't have a good search engine, you're not going to be monetizing them to the optimal effect. And once people know where they're going to get music information, they're going to go to that site directly and start doing searches. So if you're a music company or a media company, you need to embrace search so you can provide needs and provide that access to the customers as they expect to see it. So chapter 2, it's really taking advantage of this phenomena that Sue pointed out. And it's building, it's embracing search as a mission critical technology in your business. So while you might decide to work with a video search provider to provide one capable component or a mobile search provider to do one thing for your business, an underlying platform around search is really core to any media company, service provider's business. You need to be able to control access across all pieces of content, across all channels, and consistently to all your customers. And that's what we talk about when we mean a mission critical technology. There's 3 pieces. I'll go into them briefly. The first one being content. This is the one people are most familiar with. Obviously, you want to showcase all your content, but that means something different today than it did in the past, right? So you have content that you control likely. You have rights around pieces of information that you've had traditionally for years and years. But now there's things like user-generated content, and there's complementary content all across the web that you can bring to bear on your site. Using a search technology, go out and crawl that content, put it into an index where it's accessible by your customers, makes for a very rich experience. The concept of merchandising around search is pretty easy to understand in an e-commerce concept, but it's been brought up a couple times, and a good example of what you would want to embrace with when you bring search into your business is going to Dell.com and typing in laptop, or we've talked about typing in ringtone into a mobile handset. What is it that people are actually looking for? Well, they could be looking for any number of things, but what Dell does with FAST is they look through their inventory and they see where their inventory levels are a little high and where the products are that they want to push out are. And so each day they're changing the result set that will come out as a result of laptop. And through that, they better optimize their inventory and better optimize their sales to match what their business goals are. That's taking search internally and saying, okay, how do we best optimize what's going on? And you can think of any number of business model examples within your business as how you can do that. I want to talk about the next piece, which is community. So really now, the aspects of community have been talked about for any number of years at this point, but what we're doing with community is helping to drive the relevancy around how search results are delivered back. So one aspect of that is obviously personalization, but if you were to do one purchase of one CD, you wouldn't really know much about that person to be able to do some recommendations. But if you were able to understand that if that person within your site has now blogged with someone else, has now searched for other certain terms, has now navigated around your search-driven portal, you have a lot more information about that person. You can make introductions to him or her to other people with like-minded interests. You start driving new applications that are much more sticky within your business that are all search-driven. These are the types of things that come from having a community focus from search. The last one is the big one, right? Monetization. And primary monetization has been through advertising, but it's not the only monetization model, right? We've talked about e-commerce, subscription services, optimizing those through your search experience and making sure that with each search that someone puts in, you're making the best use of that query. But let's not forget about the power of advertising now within major media companies, within major service providers. You have the ability to create a keyword and bidding system within your business. You can charge a premium for the certain clicks that people are coming to. So to go back to that example with Cyrus, where they know people are looking for certain pieces of content, advertisers on that site would be willing to pay more for those clicks. You can build those models yourselves, bring that capability in-house, and then farm out the queries and the clicks that aren't appropriate for your business or aren't going to drive a larger piece of revenue. How you do that is off of a technology platform that essentially is a search platform that manages ads. Ads are just another piece of digital content that we can integrate within your business strategy for the delivery of content in a monetization fashion, right? So when we talk about owning the ad relationships, those are core to some of our customers that have been partnering with us in the past. So the Internet Yellow Page companies, the newspapers, and the emerging media companies. These are all companies that have ad relationships and need to own those to maintain their position of strength in the market rather than giving up those ad relationships to the major search engines. And the last piece around the monetization is, of course, the multi-channel side, whereas today you can start managing those relationships online, but in the very distant, not too distant future, we're going to be pushing ads onto the mobile handset, we're going to be putting them on IPTV, onto the gaming devices. Those relationships are going to become more and more important, and having a platform for distributing, for managing those and then distributing them on your own is going to be a key competitive differentiator. So my last slide hopefully wraps this all up in a nice package. Talks about Chapter 1, where the front door of the web was opened up by these major search engine providers. But Chapter 2 is going to be these media companies embracing search as a core component of their business and having search-driven portals where people come in and are looking for content in the most optimal, using that search box as they would on a major search engine. And they're good, and the media companies will be embracing that. They're going to be controlling another big piece. And then Chapter 3, we think, will be every company having their search-driven portal, all navigation on every device being driven through search. And these are the reasons why today, if you embrace search as a topic within your organization as a mission-critical technology, you'll have an advantage when we get to that Chapter 3. I think I might have some time for questions, but I'm not entirely sure. We started a little late.
All right, let's give a hand to Mike. Here's your water.
Yes, thank you.